Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to carry. It is Wednesday. We will not have a show tomorrow, but we're going to have JC and Brent Beaird today. So let's go ahead and kick it off. I think the Gators playing basketball tonight, believe it or not, in New Jersey, or maybe it's New York City now, wherever the Brooklyn Nets play. That's where we'll be. JC, you're on the Take No More Hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. What's happening?
They play in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm doing great, man. In Dallas, Texas for Thanksgiving. And tonight we have the Central Division leading Dallas Stars hosting the Las Vegas Golden Knights, your Stanley Cup champions. And I will be there at American Airlines Arena, getting ready for Stanley Cup hockey.
Are you wearing a jersey or a sweater to the game?
I'll have a sweater, Jamie Benn, number 14. And the Stars are playing the Knights, the Stanley Cup champions. Stars are very good. And then tomorrow it's the Cowboys and the Redskins in Arlington. Cowboys and Redskins, great rivalry in college.
Are you wearing a Dak Prescott jersey to this game?
I will have the number 4 wearing. I will be number 4. And we're gonna watch Thanksgiving football, and then, man, on Friday and Saturday it's college football the rest of the way. I'm so excited! This is a great holiday. Thanksgiving might be my favorite holiday, even more than Christmas. It might be, yeah.
I can't believe you're actually wearing jerseys to these games.
Well, I don't have to, but I think it's appropriate. Everybody else will be, so I'll be there, and Dallas is excited about their Stars, but
I think all your loyal listeners would like a picture of you in both jerseys when we post back on Monday.
I've got plenty of those. Okay, yeah.
All right. So we got a couple of Facebook lives here. One's for Brent when he comes on the second portion of today's show. Barone on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, "How would you approach the FSU defense of Max Brown at quarterback? What would the difference be in your strategy compared to Mertz's playing?" I mean, you try to run what we've been doing to a degree, but you gotta run stuff that Max is comfortable with. I think you'll see a lot of zone reads, getting him outside the pocket. And like I said, throw deep. There's no thinking when you throw deep. Just let him throw it deep. Don't make him have to read anything.
Well, I think the bigger question begs, and that's a fine question that the viewer just sent us, but the bigger question to me is, how do you plan on keeping Rodenmaker or whatever? How do you plan on Rodenhausen?
I knew his name until you just butchered it.
How do you plan on
Rodemaker?
How do you plan on keeping them out of the end zone? Let's talk about that.
Well, they're going to utilize they have 2 really good running backs as well. It's an interesting matchup. There's no question. Look, I think the fans can play a huge factor in this. You know, I was doing it was today Wednesday. Yeah, I was doing the show yesterday with Coach Spurrier and Steve Russell, and it's so funny, JC, because we had some people call in about questions about illegal procedures. You know, when the linemen move,
yeah,
they get so mad.
Yeah.
But and Steve made a good point. He goes, "All right, Gator fans, when we play a game at home and Tennessee's left tackle moves, y'all cheer because y'all affected them. Missouri had 67,000 people there. They were doing their job. You know, you got to look at it both ways, which most people don't want to look at it that way. Our guys should never jump all sides, no matter what.
Never,
ever,
never. And, listen, they played at LSU. They've played at Missouri. They played at Utah. These are tough environments. Now, I think the genesis or the basis of that question and of those inquiries is just the overall frustration of Florida being so undisciplined overall. Now, I know teams jump offside. I know teams have false starts. I get all that. That's fine. But we're in game 11, and here we are watching the same crap. It's crap,
Well,
QB. It's crap.
every team does it. So that was the
no
point
good
of the
teams
story.
Okay, that's fine. But teams that are winning are a little bit better at those things. You know what I mean?
No, they still jump off sides, but they can overcome them. They can overcome them. That's what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Michael wants to know, will FSU have a spy on him to keep him from running and make him throw deep? I don't know what their plans are.
Look, they're just going to do. They're not afraid of what Florida's doing. They're just trying to figure out, how are we going to make up for the loss of Jordan Travis defensively? I don't think Florida State's really worried about Florida. I just don't. Not without.
Say that one more time.
I just think Florida State they're not really concerned with what Florida's
Well, you don't know what they're concerned about. Florida's offense is pretty good, JC.
Well, you're missing the best part of that.
Well, hell, they're missing their best player.
Yeah, but see, defensively, I think Florida State's not really that concerned. I mean, I could be wrong.
Florida State has had trouble stopping the run this year. They're poor.
But see,
I did see this, and I'm going to read this and take it for what it's worth, but I thought it was somewhat amazing. Listen to these stats, JC.
Yeah.
This is, and somebody did put something on Twitter because both quarterbacks are out.
Okay.
Jordan Travis, thrown for 27.55, Graham Mertz, 2,903 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Per game, Jordan Travis, 250 yards per game. Graham Mertz, 264 yards per game.
Mm-hmm.
Travis, 8.5 yards at an attempt. Graham, 8.1 yards per attempt. Completion percentage, Jordan Travis, 64. Graham, 73. 73. Both threw 20 touchdowns, and Jordan Travis threw 2 interceptions. Graham threw 3.
It's pretty amazing. I think what they also get out of Travis is the run threat.
Well, it was only 100. I was shocked. There was only like 165-yard difference in running.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is a surprise. That's a big surprise. Yeah. That would surprise me. Well, listen, I think both players have had very good seasons. They're very good at leading their team. Everybody's cheated that these guys aren't going to be able to play. It's just the way football is. Injuries are a part of it. It's sad.
Chris says exactly. Florida's absolutely terrible. No light at the end of the season. Dude, you just almost beat the number 9 team. So, Chris, I would, if you have problems, and it is what it is.
He has problems.
Okay, you can root for another team. It's that simple.
No, he's just frustrated. I don't think he wants to root for another team, QB. I think
but I'm just saying we're terrible on defense. Okay, that's all you can say is we're terrible on defense.
Yeah,
when you've given up almost 40 points a game in like 6 straight games, you're terrible on defense.
Yeah, I mean,
when you've scored over 30 in every game, you're pretty good on offense.
Yeah, I mean, you would say, hey, if you walked in before the game and knew that you were going to have 36 points, I think you would say we have a better than 50% chance of winning, right? And that's been not the case. But LSU, Missouri, and countless other days.
Yeah, I personally, after watching tape, I do think Missouri's a better team than Florida State.
Okay. Well, I don't disagree with you. We were texting back and forth with one of our friends arguing about Missouri, and he says they suck. I don't know how you can say that. They're going to win 10 games this year. I mean, if they beat Arkansas. So I'm sorry. That team's got offense, and they're pretty salty on defense, and they took Georgia in the fourth quarter. What the hell? I mean, this is Missouri we're talking about here. We're talking about Missouri, okay? So they've won the SEC East twice since they've been in this league, which isn't bad, but that's it. That's Missouri, man. 10 wins. You're going to tell me they're not good? Please.
Yeah, they're a good team for sure, and we had them beat, but we found a way to lose it. Yep, found a way to lose it. That's the biggest thing.
That is.
Let's see. Got a text on here on the Titan No More text line. Waiting for it to pop up. There's a million on here. I just chose one. This is from Darryl. Says, of watching highlights of the 91 game of the touchdown pass to Harrison Houston, the play you got hurt. I got hurt on the play about 4 plays before that one. I don't know how I played that game with a torn ligament in my knee and a left ankle high. I had a left high ankle sprain and a torn meniscus in my right.
What year?
91. Against
what was the 14-9 game, QB?
That was it.
Okay. Yeah. How you and Casey Weldon walked off the field is still a medical miracle.
941 here says, ask JC if we change it up defensively and add an extra defensive lineman to our front to stop the FSU run game. If nothing changes, nothing changes.
Yeah.
No, you don't do that. You can't. I mean, you can't. Nobody does that in football.
Is four enough? Is four enough up front? Four.
Well, no, we play a 5-man front a lot.
Well, that's what isn't that just what he asked you?
I guess, but I think he's talking about playing 5 actual defensive linemen. You can't do that. Josh says here, does Mert's injury, in your opinion, make it more likely he returns next season when it comes to how well he would do in the draft, also considering the other elite QBs? I don't know what his plans are. I know he's our highest paid guy NIL wise. I think it's around $800,000. I think he comes back. I don't know. I don't know if he's graduated. I don't know if he's eligible to go to the transfer portal again and being a graduate guy. So who knows?
Well,
Tony. Tony's asking, do I ever watch old games like us idiots? I do not, Tony. I have not watched one of my games or a replay of any game. I had a buddy text me yesterday raising hell because he tapes all the games, and he's showing me the 4th and 17. I'm like, dude, why are you watching this? You know what happened.
QB, you know it's
I told him to go for a jog. I said, get off the couch and go for a jog.
I love that because I know exactly what you're talking about. But here's the thing, QB. People are so disenfranchised with what's happening now that they're resorting back to obsessing over the 90s and what's going on in the past. And that's when you know things are bad. Things are bad.
They've been doing that for freaking 15 years.
Well, they need to quit because for 15 years, this program has been in the tank. All right.
Yeah.
We got to start looking forward.
Well, here's the thing, JC. I try to be a realist. Okay.
Well, I sit there and talk about 72 Alabama and 78 Alabama football teams. I don't talk about
the Bears still live on the 85 Bears. All right. So listen, I'm dead serious on this.
All right.
Florida fans need to do this. We need to try to get back to being the 4th team in the SEC.
The 4th?
Here's what I mean by that. LSU's had some troubles this year. They lost 3 or 4 games last year, but had a good year. Yeah. But I still think LSU is one of the dominant programs in the league.
Okay.
And then there's Alabama and Georgia. Everybody else is the same. They're the same. So we just need to get to that 4th place and then see what happens.
Well, it's going to be a lot harder when you add Oklahoma and Texas.
Well, that's very true. I forgot about those guys.
Don't forget.
So anyway, Andy wants to know that since I played on Thanksgiving Day, how was that experience? It's cool. The great thing about playing on Thanksgiving Day is you don't have to practice and you don't have to do a whole lot of meeting because you just played on Sunday. So then you just have walkthroughs and meetings. You don't even practice for this Thursday game.
Yeah.
Then you get the whole weekend off.
Yeah.
Before the next week. It's great playing on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, and 2 teams always do it. I find that interesting how doesn't I think it's great that Detroit and Dallas always play on Thanksgiving. I find that fun. QB, can I give you our latest Michigan football update? Or are we tired of talking about that?
No, let's hear it. I didn't know we were having the big blue update, but go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to give you one. Because I talked to a person yesterday at the Gaylord, and he was talking to a Gator club, and not a Gator club. I'm sorry. He was talking to a overall college football club because the College Football Playoff Committee meets here at the Gaylord. As long story short, Michigan football. Jim Harbaugh. Here's your update: 2 suspensions, 6 games so far. Coaches Chris Partridge fired, Connor Stallions fired, Glenn Schembeckler fired, Matt Weiss fired, Alex Yud fired. But Michigan fans don't think Jim Harbaugh had anything or knew anything about any of this. And it just goes to the complete denial and utter stupidity of Michigan fans. The Michigan Wolverines are 1-6 in New Year's Day. They are he's 2-5 against Ohio State. They have not won a national championship. Well, let's see. They've got 1.5 national championships in the last 75 years, and all we do is talk about them. It's just unbelievable to me. I hope Ohio State runs the score up on them. I know they won't, but I sure hope they do. And I used to root for Michigan, but this guy he's a crook. He's going to go to the pros, and we're not going to have to talk about him, hopefully, at Michigan anymore.
You think he goes to the pros, and then you think Michigan gets put on some type of probation?
There is no question in my mind that this guy will not be around next year. I just think he's tired of it. And listen, he can do what he wants, but there is a laundry list of things that this guy has been involved in that have been so over the line. And we seem to he self-imposed a suspension on himself as well. I mean, he is, he's just and he tries to play this, victim act. And, Michigan, America's team. What an insult. He said that during the Veterans Day weekend, America's team. We love they're victims of Michigan. It's just absurd. It's obscene. And I'm so sick and damn tired of Michigan. I've had it.
So you're pulling for Buckeyes.
Oh God, yeah. In fact, I might even wear an Ohio hat on Saturday, and then take it off for Alabama, Auburn, and then take it off for Florida State. That's how I'm going to probably approach Saturday. It's such a big day, rivalry day. We wait all season long for this weekend. It's here, and then football's just about over. It's quick, man.
It's over, and all your rivalry games are going to be the week before Thanksgiving next year.
Yeah. Now, why is that, QB? Tell me why that is.
Because they're going to start the season earlier, and you got your 12-team playoff or whatever, however many teams it is.
12-team playoff. Will you ask Brent Beaird for me? And you'll probably forget because you always forget these questions I ask you to ask. But if you can remember, ask him why.
I will write it down. What is your question?
Well, my question is, since the top 4 teams will have bye weeks, why is there any talk at all about eventually putting those games that they play in for the first playoff game that they're involved in 1 through 4 on campus? Or are they going to have to go through 3 neutral sites for their fan base?
I thought they were on campus.
No, the first 4 teams are going to be off. The 5 through 9 teams are going to have home games. 5 through 8 teams, are going to have home games in that first round. But the top 4 seeds will not get an on-campus game. And I think for the fans of those top 4 seeds, that's going to be very difficult. Very difficult. It's very difficult now. I mean, it's impractical now with the prices and the way things are. So I guess it's irrelevant. It's next year. I understand that. Okay, how about this? Instead of talking about that, QB, maybe you can ask them, hey, if Alabama beats Georgia, will the SEC get a team in the Final Four? Because everybody's telling me that Texas goes in before Alabama. Okay, that's fine. But if you're going to use that logic, you have to take Georgia out too, because then Alabama would have beaten them. So you can't have them in it representing the SEC if they lost the game, even though they're the number 1 team and they have wiggle room. Does that really mean they have wiggle room? Do they really? What's going to happen to Florida State if they go undefeated with a backup? Are they going to get booted out by a 1-loss SEC team? Those are the questions you need to ask.
They are.
You've already made that decision? Florida State's out?
Although I don't think they can beat Louisville. I don't know if they're going to beat us. And that was when we had both Mertz and Jordan Travis. Like I told you, I just don't. I've watched them play. They've struggled in the ACC. Yeah. They're talking about, a lot of people who are texting about playing 3 defensive tackles and 2 defensive ends. I mean, that's kind of a 5-down look. I don't know if we have enough players with those bodies to put in the game, quite honestly.
Well, he's going to try to throw it too. The question should be, what will Florida State do against Florida's run game without the threat of a pass? Is Max Brown a threat to pass the ball, QB?
He's not. I mean, like I told you, he's gonna run. We're gonna get him outside the pocket and let him run it or throw it, and then throw it deep. I mean,
so if they throw 8,
we can't line up and just run the ball every down.
Right. So if they throw 8 in the box, what are we gonna do if they throw 8 in the box?
Well, you have to throw it.
Well, then you have to throw it. Is he a threat to throw it? It's the question.
We'll find out. Okay. He's not an anticipation type quarterback.
Yeah.
He's got a good arm, but that doesn't mean anything. We'll see what they're going to do. Here's a great question, though, Matt has on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law. Who's better, Kadarius Toney or Trey Wilson III?
Oh,
Eugene
wow.
I will give you my thoughts right now. Trey's only played a handful of games. He is a much better route runner. He's a much better natural catcher of the football. And I do think he's better than Kadarius Toney.
I fell in love with him in the Utah game in limited action. I just knew. I said, that's their playmaker. That guy. Who is that guy? Who is that guy? And he's their playmaker. Him and Etienne. I mean, those are the 2. Yeah, QB. I love Wilson. He was my favorite after the Utah game. I didn't know who he was. I've been a big fan. Has he gotten the ball enough, you think, in his storied career here?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say. He's been dinged up too, Here's another tidbit that I thought was somewhat intriguing. Yeah. People talk about how ETN doesn't get enough touches, Pearsall. Okay, so in the Missouri game, Missouri ran 67 offensive plays. Yeah. Their 2 best players, their tailback Cody Schrader and Burton. Yeah. They were targeted or touched the ball 34 of the 67 times.
Half the plays. The plays.
Our 3 best players or playmakers, Pearsall, Trey Wilson, and Etienne.
Yes.
How many times of our 66 plays do you think they touched the ball? or were targeted or touched the ball?
Half.
33.
Yeah, half. Yeah.
So we did the same thing they did, but everybody, the ball can only go to so many people, and I understand people's, and Montreal had more rushing yards than ETN did on fewer carries, I believe. But look, we're fine offensively.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. No complaints whatsoever. I just want to know what FSU thinks now that the threat of the past may be in question. I don't know. We're going to find out on Saturday. We'll see. Max Brown can get coached up. I thought he played outstanding for some being called in the heat of battle.
He
totally
did. You got to credit the coaches for having him ready to go there.
I thought he was fine. Yeah, he fumbled it with the snap, but I think that kind of happens.
No, that should never happen. That is
it was a handoff. It was a handoff.
I don't know if I don't like to talk about myself, but I don't think I ever bobbled or mishandled a handoff. That is elementary shit that should never happen. Yeah. Brandon said, ask JC, is he playing in the 33rd annual Gator Open at Boston? I will answer that for him. No.
Wait
JC does not like to compete again on that golf course, especially when they set it up for the Gator Open.
Roll up. What is the date, please? Does anybody have?
I don't even know the date. It's usually the weekend of the SEC championship game.
Oh,
but
is
I don't know.
Is that the 2-day thing? 2-day thing?
Yeah, you played and quit the next day. It was too hard.
No, I had other commitments. I think I'll be in Atlanta again. Get ready for.
Oh no! It's the week after the championship game. I'll be in it then.
Oh, okay.
I'll be there.
Oh,
I'll play in it when I can.
I'll be at. Let's see. Well, no, it's possible. We'll see. It's down the road now. I got to worry about Stars and Cowboys right now.
Why? Because you ain't playing.
That's where I'm going. No, I mean my plans. No, I mean you never know. 2 days is. 2 days, a whole weekend playing that course. My God, I've played it all my life. It's so uninteresting to me. It's just
which course?
I think all the golf courses in Gainesville are somewhat uninteresting.
Dude, you cannot say that course is not interesting.
Well, it is. They redid it. I get it.
You have to stress on every freaking shot.
It's hard. It's hard. It's the hardest course in town. It's probably the hardest course in North Florida. In this area, including Ocala. I mean, don't you think it's every bit as hard as the Ocala Country Club or Golden Ocala? I think it is. Don't you?
It's harder than those.
Yeah, those slow. Those you can land C-130s and DC 10s on those fairways down Ocala. I'm just trying to think of a course in our area that's as hard as you have, and I can't come up with one.
Okay, so 941 here has who he wants. He wants to line up Chris McClellan, Caleb Banks, Cam Jackson, Desmond Watson. Desmond Watson he can't play in these type of games. The game's too fast. And Sapp can also slide inside. The problem is none of those guys can rush the passer. Okay. They're going to throw the football. They have two excellent wideouts. So they're not just going to turn. Yeah.
A couple running backs.
Here's the scenario. I mean, look, we don't know. Tate Rodemaker has played a little bit of football last year.
Mm-hmm.
All the times that Jordan Travis has been banged up. But he's never played in a setting like he's going to play in Saturday night.
Right.
Let's not forget that. There's only one place in the entire ACC that is equivalent to our stadium, and they always play day games, and that's Clemson. Nobody else has an environment like we do in the ACC. Nobody.
Right, in the ACC, correct.
Nobody in the entire SEC is a different setting than what they play in the ACC. So,
that's true.
I like our chances Saturday. I really do.
You really do, huh? You really do, huh?
I liked it before both teams got hurt. I liked us last year, and we probably should have won that game. But
they scored. They were in the 40s. We were in the 30s. I mean, that's
Yeah, we went through a period where we didn't complete any passes.
I meant to say in my Michigan update that he was 1-6 in bowl games, and he's 2-5 against Ohio State. Maybe I didn't say that. Maybe I did. He's repeatedly misled Michigan while interviewing for NFL jobs. Why they stand up for this dope, I have no idea.
He's 2-5 against Ohio State. It seems like he's beaten up. Well, now they're ready to fire Ryan Day.
They're 2-5 and 1-6 in bowl games. My God, if Ryan Day loses to an interim coach or a step-in coach, oh my God, the pressure. The thing about Ohio State, and I think this was the case with Urban Meyer at Florida, there never seemed to be any joy in winning. It was just, okay, we got past that one. What's next? And that's what you got at Ohio State, man, and until they finish the season. And last time I checked, they've only won it once in the last, I don't know how many decades, and that was in 2014 when they got lucky with Cardale Jones and Lane Kiffin, forgetting Derrick Henry was on the roster. That's about the only time Ohio State won. But Michigan hasn't won a national title so damn long, and we got to talk about them every stinking day. And I've contributed to that disease today. But I just wanted to let it out there because I haven't said anything about Harbaugh in the last 2 weeks other than I said he was going to get suspended, and he did. But it's so funny how he just dropped the arbitration hearing, how all of a sudden the linebacker coach gets fired and these other guys get fired, but the Michigan fan sits there and goes, Harbaugh didn't know nothing. He didn't know nothing. He's innocent. Y'all are picking on him because you hate Michigan and our great history. You ain't got no history. What history? Yeah, it's. I'm sick of Michigan. I hate Michigan. I'm sick of them. I'll like them better when Harbaugh leaves. But the Michigan fans are idiots. They're idiots. They're fucking. I shouldn't have said. I said a bad word. But
it's okay. It's perfectly fine. You can do that on my show. Yeah. People on here talking about Kadarius Toney. I look. Y'all ask my opinion. I'm telling you, I think Trey Wilson's better than him.
Why couldn't the Chiefs catch the ball the other night, QB? What happened there?
Well, they dropped a bunch, didn't they?
They dropped a bunch.
And what's crazy
Mahomes,
is on that the fourth and 25 should have been completed.
It was there. And by the way, this is how great Mahomes is. He knew exactly where he was going to throw the ball. Leading up to the second and a half, he was looking away. And then, boom, he knows exactly where he's throwing. He's not even looking at where he's throwing the ball. This is, I guess, quarterback review here. This is how great it is. He's looking off, and he then goes right to where he's supposed to throw it. And that ball hit the kid right in the hands. That kid dropped
4th and 25.
And it looked very eerily similar to that Missouri coverage.
It
really did. Same pattern, same everything. But they dropped one in the end zone. Chiefs should have won. The Eagles win.
JC, real quick, let's do some Peachland Dentals before we get to Brent Beaird for the games tomorrow.
Okay, good. All right, so we've got NFL. There's 3 games, as you know. The first one will require the Packers playing at Detroit. Detroit is 7.5, and they really struggled with the Chicago Bears last week. I think the Packers are playing better, and that's a big number. I'm going to say Packers cover the 7.5, QB.
All right. Well, I'll just go with my Detroit lines because I don't know why that line is that high. Somebody knows something we don't know.
Okay. Well, Redskins getting 11 against the Cowboys. I saw, by the way, a bumper sticker with the Redskins. Remember that old R they had with the feathers coming out the back? Go back to that, please. New management, Magic Johnson. Come on, Redskins plus 11. That's a lot, man. That's. But Dallas is really good at home. Dallas plays good football at home. The Redskins are struggling. Commanders, whatever the hell they are. I'm going to take the 11. I'm going to lay the 11. Even though that's probably a loss.
I don't know what. I mean, Sam Howell's playing pretty well, but
they lose.
Washington used to have good defense. I think they traded most of them away.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
Yeah, they score a bunch of points at home.
They beat bad teams really bad.
They
lose to good teams.
49ers laying 7 in Seattle. Wow, tough. Geno got banged up last week in Los Angeles. He really did. I think the 49ers are ready to take off. Give me the Niners. They'll win by 10 or more.
Yeah, give me Brock Purdy and the Niners.
Niners are great. Now, QB, is there any college? Let me see, of course.
Yes, the Egg Bowl.
The Egg Bowl. Dude, the Dogs can't score. Ole Miss, Mississippi laying 10. I know it's a rivalry. It'll be close for about a quarter and a half until Ole Miss just goes off. I think Lane Kiffin wins the Egg Bowl by 17.
Well, Mississippi State won this game last year.
They had Will Rogers.
I think Mississippi State. I think
they can't score.
Will Rogers is back.
Yeah,
he played last week. I think they're going to let him call plays. They're going to run the old air raid. Give me the Dogs. I think they lose a close one.
Man, I thought you loved Mississippi. I'm starting.
I do, but 10 points in a rivalry game on the road, and you got Will Rogers back. I mean, he's pretty good.
He wasn't that great against Southern Miss. I don't think he's played enough this year to really be effective. I'm taking Mississippi. I want the Dogs. You know, I'm a dog. I'm a State guy all the way, but I think Mississippi clips them pretty easily here. So that's
our Peachland Dental Gator Nation's number one.
We have some games on Friday.
Charlotte.
Yeah,
we got a lot of games on Friday.
We'll do that on Friday. I'll give you a report from the American Airlines Arena, and
we need photos of you in your silly ass jersey.
Where do I send those photos to I'll call Zach. You text me, Zach, and give me the link to send the photos, and we'll get them over to you so we can throw them up there on Friday, because everybody wants to see me in a Dallas Stars uniform. Okay, so we'll do that. I mean, you're so jealous, QB. I get to go to a hockey game today.
I can't think of anything worse than what you're getting ready to do. All right, JC, have a good Thanksgiving. Have fun at the games. That's JC joins us on the Tight Number Hotline. Take a quick time out. Come back. We'll be joined by our college football analyst and Heisman Trophy voter, Brent Beaird. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are
the Kiara Grace Foundation, proudly presents
Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Campus USA, put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, watch. Duffield Home Improvements for your window, siding, and roofing needs. Radware, your local provider of promotional products, uniforms, and apparel. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Radware, F45, Quality Plumbing. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
The Kiara Grace Foundation proudly presents An Evening with Tim Tebow, Thursday, November 30th at the Touchdown Terrace at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Experience a once-in-a-lifetime VIP meet and greet with Tim. Hear his heartfelt stories and his unyielding dedication to the most vulnerable. With your support, we can extend the reach of the Kiara Grace Foundation to save precious lives in Latin America. Get your ticket before they sell out. Don't miss your chance to meet Tim Tebow, be inspired, and make a tangible difference.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. We're going to go to the Tight Number Hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements, and we're joined by Brent Beaird. Good morning, Brent. How you doing, bud?
Happy Thanksgiving, my friend, to you and our listeners and viewers as we get closer to Thanksgiving and football weather, 65 and 48 tomorrow, and we'll start with an Egg Bowl tomorrow night and got games throughout the weekend. So it's an exciting time of year.
It is. So speaking of the Egg Bowl, Will Rogers is going to be back. I think State's going to play Ole Miss tough. Yeah. I think Ole Miss wins, but this is the last time we're going to have this Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving night, correct?
We don't know that yet for sure, but that might be a real possibility because we're going to have to back the season's going to start next year a week early. So does that mean, in other words, the season will start in the last Saturday in August, not the first Saturday in September, Labor Day weekend. So does that mean everything else backs up? And if it does, that would mean that the Egg Bowl would be played not this week, a year from now, but the previous week, if that makes sense. The weekend before Thanksgiving, and if we're fast forward a year from now, there's a real possibility they may be playing the championship games on Thanksgiving weekend in order to get everything in. Now, the first round of games next year for the playoffs are going to be Friday the 20th, yes, Friday, and Saturday the 21st. So just to give folks a little bit of indication of what we're looking to next year.
Brent, the poll came out last night. Were you surprised that Washington jumped ahead of Florida State? I'm not, and I do believe them that it has nothing to do with Jordan Travis's injury. Your thoughts on that?
Probably the same as you on that. I'm not real surprised. I mean, if they run the table in beating Florida and beating Louisville, will they go to the playoffs? I think they will, but there's still some uncertainty here that we frankly just don't know. I mean, it sounds strange, but if you win your conference and you go undefeated, well, you have trouble getting into the playoffs, and this is one of those crazy years to where that might happen because we just have not had the weekend of upsets as we normally do. So there's some confidence there that Florida State would be okay still. So they do like Washington a lot. I know their coach, and Washington is 8-0 against ranked opponents, which is impressive. But I think the other thing is, Shane, could that be an indication of what the committee could do in penalizing FSU, not because of necessarily what they did, but from being in a perceived weaker conference? So there's still a bunch of questions left to be answered here. And a year from now, we're not even having this conversation because FSU and a lot of these other questionable teams, because the 12-team playoff is expanded, all of them will be included.
Yeah, for sure. Some of the big games this weekend that have playoff implications, and I'm sure Florida State will be rooting against these teams. Texas Tech is at Texas. That's a game that not only Florida State, but Alabama fans need Texas to lose. Oregon State at Oregon. This is a huge game in the Civil War. And then obviously Ohio State, Michigan is going to take care of itself. But Washington playing in the Apple Cup against Washington State. Do you see any upsets in those few games there, Brent?
Well, Oregon State is always a possibility. Mm-hmm. Now, people need to keep in mind Texas Tech at Texas, Oregon State at Oregon, or Friday night games. Now, that's a pretty good deal in it, Shane, to have both those games on Friday night. Matter of fact, there is a huge Friday schedule of games that begin with Miami at Boston College at noon. So you have to keep that in mind. You've got Washington State at Washington. That's a possible upset. I'm curious your take on this, but people they wonder every year why these rivalry games are so close. Well, the reason is for the underdog, and maybe the first time in a month, that they may be healthy and they may be focused and that they're really motivated. So that has a lot to do with these rivalry games.
Yeah, I think out of those, the one that could possibly happen is Oregon State at Oregon. Oregon's had a good year, but their strength of schedule, supposedly, I don't know it very well, is not great. I don't know how, because they play the same teams as some of these other Pac-12 teams play. But Oregon State plays good defense. They can run the ball down your throat. So look for the Beavers maybe in the upset there. And I don't know. Arizona still has a chance to go to the Pac-12 championship. And I believe if Oregon State beats Oregon and Arizona wins, I think Arizona will be playing Washington in the Pac-12 championship, where my man Jed Fish should be coach of the year.
Yeah, and the conference records, Washington's 8-0, Oregon 7-1, and Arizona is 6-2. So 8-3. That is a tremendous year for Arizona, isn't it, Shane?
Yes. Oh, there's no question. Um, well, I just lost my train of thought here. Oh, Cam Rising is coming back.
Yes,
Cam Rising is going to be playing in his seventh year of college football.
that's correct.
That's
Yeah, yes,
crazy.
yeah, it really is. You know, Miami. I think I'm right on this. But Miami has got a tight end that I don't think he played much, but what was looking at his like ninth year of
Mhm.
eligibility. I almost don't know how you do that, but yes, Rising is coming back. He was a member of the 2018 recruiting class that had Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and Zach Wilson. So that's amazing when you think about that. But boy, when he's healthy, he's really good. We saw him in the swamp last year, obviously, but just frankly, that knee injury, and you've told us about this. You never know when you have an ACL surgery, Shane, how long it takes to get over it.
Yeah, for sure. Radware is a family-owned business that prides itself in excellent customer service while providing quality and affordable promotional products and customized apparel. Speaking with Brent Beaird on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. Dan Mullen's name is the favorite at Syracuse. Do you think he takes this job? Look, if he's going to get back into coaching, this may be a good place for him to go
You know,
because the ACC is not that tough.
no.
Um, he could win 7 or 8 games a year at Syracuse, and they would love him.
Oh yeah, they would build a statue of him if they did that. Dino Babers started out well, but it didn't last very long. And again, we're not saying he's going there. That is according to Bet Online. McMullen's the favorite. Now they may just threw something up against the wall, but now I understand he is a New Hampshire native, so he is from that area. Shane said it would be a pretty good fit, all in all, and they need somebody really to get dig in there and to be able to have some consistency. Have not heard his name again with Mississippi State, so he's enjoying being on TV and getting the attention from all that right now.
Yes, for sure. Brent, we had a question before the show started for you. I want to get back to it before I forget. It's from Neil on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. He said, ask Brent about UF qualifying for a bowl game if they're 5 and 2 because of good APR ranking.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have good APR ranking. I heard on something yesterday. Where was I? I can't remember, but I think South Carolina has a better APR than we do, and they would qualify before we would. Do you know anything about that?
Well, here's where we are with this. There were 9 teams that got eligible last weekend for bowls. So that's 67 teams for 82 spots, with 24 more teams that could win, and it could get the 6 wins. But so there's 2 ways basically to get in: either because they don't have enough spots, or because, as you said, their APR. And I'm with you. I don't quite know what it is either, but if it's good, that's a plus. And look, I mean, Florida, even at 5 and 7, would be attractive to some bowls. So that would certainly be in their favor. So that's the 2 ways you could get into a bowl if you don't have 6 wins.
Yeah, and if we have like I said, I don't know if we have a high enough APR to be one of those teams.
Right.
But if we are, we're going to the bowl game, people,
Yes.
because we need to add money to the pot
No
to
doubt.
split among the SEC schools. We're not.
Yeah.
We need the money. So we will take that bowl offer if there's one. All right, let's get to the Iron Bowl. Brent, you're from the state of Alabama. You got a lot of friends down in that Auburn area. I think they get blasted this weekend. What is the feeling of the Auburn people after just getting embarrassed by New Mexico State?
Well, the feeling is that they can right all the wrongs by upsetting Alabama. But the reality is for here, on paper, and that doesn't mean anything, on paper, you win on grass, but on paper, I mean, Alabama's 2 or 3 touchdowns better than Auburn is. I give Jerry Kill and New Mexico State a lot of credit. That's a good football team that people probably watched on Tuesday or Wednesday nights, and they really took Auburn to the woodshed, frankly, dominating them, particularly on the line of scrimmage. So the logic is, if they can do that, will Alabama do the same? Well, the thing with this rivalry is that Auburn is the stands will be full. They'll be at fever pitch. But is that going to win you a game? In the long run, no. It's blocking and tackling is a reality of it. Now, part of the problem here, and Alabama beat writers have told me this for years, for whatever reason, when Nick Saban gets to Auburn, he tends to tighten up and overcoach. So we'll see if that happens with this team. But still, Auburn's got a long way to go. They're obviously looking to try to get to a bowl themselves. And Hugh Freeze's first year, that would be important for them. By the way, I'm going to throw this out here. Evan Stewart, one of the A&M wide receivers, is hitting the transfer portal. And by the way, he's very good. Alabama thought to be the team to beat for him. Obviously, everybody else wants him, but career numbers: 91 catches, 1,100 yards, and 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, he is a really good football player, and he will get a lot of money from somebody.
Yep.
Brent, let's jump to the FSU game. Very interesting game here in the Swamp. What do you think is going to happen in this game?
I think this thing's going to be close, and I think Florida really has a chance to win the game. I really do. And would it shock me if they won? No, it frankly would not. Now, the thing that I'm looking at here for keys to the game would be is, can Florida block the FSU front seven? And their front seven has been very consistent. They've had the same guys play the whole year for FSU, and they've got a pretty good defense. The other thing that is going on here would be Tate Rodemaker has actually played a decent amount. I mean, he's never been the starter, but he's been there long enough to where he is used to the system, and that will help him to some degree. So all in all, and it's such a shame what happened to Jordan Travis, because he may have made it to New York as a Heisman Trophy participant. Strength of schedule, Florida's 4th and Florida State's 50th.
Yeah.
I think that helps Florida. I really do. And Shane, since we're talking about FSU, now, win or not, on Saturday, they play to Louisville next week in the ACC championship game. Will that surprise you at all if Louisville won?
No, I've been wanting Jeff Brom as a coach before we hired McElwain.
Yeah.
I think he's as good as anybody in America. Louisville's weakness. Louisville's a very good football team. He is the first coach to ever take 2 different teams in 2 different leagues to back-to-back championship games. He took Purdue last year, and he got Louisville this year. His quarterback is his weak link, which is usually the strength. Yep. Louisville's going to be a force moving forward in the ACC. Mm-hmm. If we don't beat Florida State, Louisville will.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. There's a real chance of that happening, and people need to keep an eye on Jeff Brom.
Yes, he is as good a play caller as you will ever see. Brent, we're almost out of time here, but I want you to touch on the LSU A&M game. Do you think, I mean, this is kind of Jaden Daniels' last hurrah. Right. I don't know if he'll play in the bowl. I mean, basically to try to win the Heisman Trophy. I don't think it's even close. but I know it is. Do you think he wins it, or does he have to really put on a show against the Aggies?
I think right now he probably is the leader. I think Bo Nix is up there, and so is Michael Penix. This is amazing. In the last 2 weeks, Jane Daniels has 1,115 yards and 13 touchdowns. In 11 games, he has 3,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. The 4 interceptions is what gets your attention here, Shane. 1,100 yards in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing short of amazing, isn't it?
No, I mean he's doing stuff that has never happened in college football. He's doing it in the SEC. I know his team has 3 losses, but I don't care. He is the most outstanding football player in the United States.
Yeah, he is.
And that's what it says on the damn trophy. So
yes.
If he doesn't win it, it's a joke. I mean, a serious joke. It doesn't say who's the best player on the best team in America. He is by far the best player for sure. Right. Any nuggets you want to get us before we get you out of here?
Well, don't forget, for folks, the Egg Bowl is tomorrow night, and that is 7:30 on ESPN. Obviously, Mississippi State is an interim coach. Ole Miss looking to improve on really what's been a good season for them. And also South Carolina, Clemson, as Shane said, South Carolina trying to go bowling. Tennessee will not have any trouble with the Vanderbilt. Kentucky, that kind of went off the rails. They're still going to a bowl game, but they play at Louisville. Gosh, Kentucky is 7-8 since Mark Stoops signed a contract that made him the 7th highest paid coach in the country. That's a remarkable stat too. And by the way, Georgia Tech, Georgia will win that game easily. But folks may want to know the Georgia Tech quarterback is Haynes King. Now that sounds familiar. He's a transfer from A&M. Mm-hmm. So Georgia will have an easy win. If Alabama beats Auburn, I think they will. That will set up a gargantuan game next week in the SEC championship game. And don't forget, Friday afternoon, Arkansas hosts Missouri. And if folks haven't heard, Sam Pittman will be back. Shane, did that surprise you at all?
A little bit, but again, who's Arkansas going to hire?
Yeah.
And he's had some 6-7 win seasons. Now this year they're not going to win that many games, but dude, Arkansas's got to we got to be realistic. Okay. It's just like I told JC. As of the SEC right now, you want to try to be one of the top 4 teams, which is Alabama, Georgia, LSU, and hopefully Florida can be that 4th guy here in the recent, come in the next coming years. But you got Texas and OU coming in there. You got to get into that top tier and compete there every year and get out of the bottom tier. The Arkansas, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Kentucky, South Carolina, they're going to be down there. We got to get out of that and be up there with the other guys. Not saying we're going to win the SEC, but you got to be up there, one of the top 4 to 6 teams once OU and Texas join us. So it's a long climb, but that's how I think about it. I don't think anybody's going to compete with Alabama and Georgia for a long time.
Yeah,
that's just my personal opinion.
They just have the best players is a reality for that.
Yeah, I got the best players, best facility. Their coaches are outstanding. They got it going, and it ain't slowing down. So next weekend in Atlanta is going to be nuts.
Absolutely. But so, Shane, it's going to be a good weekend. All in all, looking forward to it. Games start tomorrow, Friday, and on Saturday too, obviously. But we will see when we talk next week if we have some upsets and where all this stuff may be going.
Yep, Brent, appreciate your time. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you next week, bud.
Same to you, brother. Take care.
That's Brent Beaird. Join us on the Titan Emerald Hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. Silverback Concrete's a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that build commercial structures with unrivaled quality. Silverback Concrete, you stand on it, We stand by it. Gator basketball tonight. I'm supposed to tip at 9:30 against Pitt. It'll probably be a little late. It's the second game. And I hope everybody has a tremendous Thanksgiving. Enjoy tomorrow. We'll see you on Friday, folks. Take care.